If you're looking to move to the Salt Lake Valley here in Utah, Herriman is a city that has been experiencing a lot of growth. It's got growing amenities, it's got good schools, and it may just be a good place that you'd be happy to live in. But what does the market look like here right now? Is this gonna be a good time to move? That's what we're gonna talk about in this video right here. My name is Christopher McGee. I am the owner of Halcyon Real Estate. We are with the Keller Williams Market Center in Salt Lake City, Utah. My team helps people move from all over the states to right here in the Salt Lake Valley. So if that's something that you are thinking about doing, now's a good time to pause the video, go into the description of the video, click on the Google form link, fill that out. I'm gonna be happy to help you get things in order. With that said, let's jump right into looking at the market here in Herriman, Utah right now. And let's start with the supply of homes right now. How many homes are available for sale here in Herriman right now? Today is 1st of June, 2026. About 370 homes available for sale right here in Herriman. That is so many compared to most of the other cities in the valley. If you look at any of the other videos that I've done and see how many homes are available for sale, it's gonna range from like 30 to 250 at the most. But Herriman, boom, 370. Let's look a little bit closer at that number and what's in it. About 250 of those homes that are now for sale in Herriman were built in 2020 or after. That gives you an idea of how much of the growth has happened very recently here. And about 185 of those 370 homes available for sale right now are either condos or townhomes, okay? This tells us a lot about what the market looks like here right now and what is happening with growth here in Herriman. And it tells you something about what Salt Lake County expects in the near future in terms of growth. There is a lot of growth expected here between now and 2035, and by 2050, we are expecting about 5 million people in Salt Lake County, whereas right now, we have about 3.5 million. Most of the cities in the Salt Lake County are already built out. We have the Oquirrh Mountains on our west in the valley. We have the Wasatch Mountains on our east in the valley. We have the Great Salt Lake largely pincering off the ability to build to the north, and to the south, we have the point of the mountain, as we call it, that creates the divide between Salt Lake County and Utah County. The overwhelming majority of that space is built out. Where there is space to build out is basically the southwest edge of the valley, and that basically means Herriman and South Jordan. Now, as I shoot this video in June of 2026, and ever since interest rates started coming up across the nation in 2022, Utah's supply has been slowly refilling. At our worst in 2021, the entire state of Utah had about 1,500 homes for sale. That supply pinched demand and was part of why our home values skyrocketed like they did. Currently, right now, as of this morning when I checked, we have 13,400 and change homes available on the market, which is a big difference from the worst that we had of 1,500 available 5 years ago, right? Now, that steady rise that we've had in inventory throughout Utah has been a good thing as far as home prices in Utah goes. We've had painfully high home prices because at the height of the COVID era in 2021, we had home prices rise that year in 27%. That's a huge jump for 1 year, right? Now in 2022, interest rates start coming up and that puts a damper on demand. And so we had in 2022, home values rise by 12%. In 2023, 6%. In 2024 and 2025, it was just 1 to 2%, and that's where we are now. And so we needed the correction of interest rates high like they got to put that damper on the demand, to put a damper on what house prices have been doing. And up until this point, home prices have really leveled out, but in Herriman, you will get a different story. As I said, Herriman is full of new builds and active construction on homes. And if there's anybody that's gonna be very conservative on how they price their homes, it's builders. Builders are paying very close attention to the market. Home builders have to move their inventory. They have to sell what they have on the market right now just to make sure they can get to the next phase of their development in the next project that they are working on. Builders are very acutely aware of how buyers are behaving in an area. They're very acutely aware of how long homes are staying on the market, and the builders don't have the luxury of waiting for the right buyer. And so they just need to move their inventory. They need to make it sold now. So builders tend to price conservatively, and they tend to offer more aggressive concessions and other incentives to buy their product instead of the house that's, just a couple blocks away that might have been built in the last few years, but it's not being sold by the builder. It's being sold by whoever lives in it right now, right? Because the seller a couple blocks away isn't they don't have to move inventory. They might be looking for the right buyer, right? And this actually brings up another good point about what it is to buy a home in an area where there may be a lot of new construction. Importantly, one of the effects of having new builds actively being constructed in a neighborhood is that the home values across the entire neighborhood become subdued. That's not your favorite if you're trying to sell your home, especially if you've only lived in it for a few years, right? But that's a win for home sellers. And what it means right now, if you're interested in buying in Herriman, is that you could come to Herriman and buy a new build for a great deal comparative to what else is on the market, or you wouldn't have to buy a new build in order to get a comparatively good deal because the entire market here is relatively subdued, especially if you're in a newer neighborhood like this one, where you're just a block away from some new construction. All right, let's make this real right now with a real life example. So just a few weeks ago, I had a client come to me and they live in this area and they said, Chris, I'm curious about a move right now. What would my house go for if it were to hit the market right now? Importantly, they bought their home. They moved here from out of Utah, bought their home about 4 years ago. They bought it for $830,000, okay? So I do the research, I'm gonna give him a comparative market analysis, and I come back to him and I'm always gonna be honest and transparent with my clients. I'm not just gonna tell them what they wanna hear. If he were to put his house in this area on the market right now, it would likely sell at about $815,000. Now think about what I just said. Remember what I said earlier about what the market has done in terms of home values across the last 4 years. From 2022 to present, 12% rise in home values, 6% rise in home values, and then 2 and then 1% rise in home values across the last 4 years, right? And yet in Herriman, where he was surrounded by new builds, he bought his house at $830K. And if he were to put it on the market now, he would be selling it for about $815K. That's not a big win for a seller. But if you're a buyer and thinking about Herriman, that is a big win. All right, now what is median sold price in Herriman right now? It comes to $575,000, which is a little high of the median throughout Salt Lake County. Median right now in Salt Lake County being $550K. Look at that dog, hi buddy. Look at his tail wag. You're famous. Remember that median is including a lot of people buying condos and townhomes, not necessarily homes like this. The homes in the neighborhood, like where I'm standing right now, where we're walking, these kinds of homes, these are 3,000 plus square foot homes. These are probably going in the range of like 750 to 900K. But you've got anything from, when I looked it up earlier this morning, anything from about 320K for a 2-bedroom, 800 with change square feet, that going for 320K. Anything from there on one end of the spectrum to a $2.9 million beautiful home. I mean, if you were to pick this home up, this $2.9 million home out here in Herriman, if you were to pick it up and stick it in Holiday, would go for about $6 million. Theater room, 5-car garage, beautiful luxury finishes throughout, butler's pantry, full mother-in-law suite in the basement with its own kitchen, its own laundry, all of that. This is listed, by the way, by Jeremy Osgathorpe and Daniel Talbert. They're with Realty Path LLC Platinum. Let's talk real quick about amenities in Herriman. To be frank, there's not all that many, but on the outskirts of Herriman is where you'll get most of it. So in Herriman, if you go out to the canyons to the west, you got Yellow Fork Canyon, you got Butterfield Canyon. Those are nice. There's actually a route through the canyon of, I think it's Butterfield. You can go all the way over the Ochre Mountains and come out the other side in Tooele towards Stansbury Park, if you ever wanted to make a day trek out of it for some reason. There's a lot of parks in Herriman. Some skate parks, a lot of green spaces. There's your grocery shopping and things like this, little banks and stuff like that. But if you want like retail shopping, theaters, a lot of restaurant options, you're probably, if you're in Herriman, you're going to come right here to Mountain View Village. I'm sitting here right now. We got a Sephora and Evereve, I've never heard of that. We got a Lululemon, Pandora. We got the Cinemark right behind me over here. This isn't a quarter of what's at the Mountain View Village. It extends from me basically in all directions except for east from here. Ton of shops, a lot of options for retail and entertainment here. If you're in Herriman and there's something else you were looking for that's not here, Draper is not far, and Sandy is just a little bit further than Draper from here. So you're still 20 minutes from everything you'd want. The only reason you might not want to move to Herriman is if you work towards downtown Salt Lake City. If you work towards downtown Salt Lake City, then what you're looking at is a 45-minute drive. And if you're in rush hour traffic, it might be even longer. And so that's one reason not to be here. But if you work from home, or if you don't work all the way that far north, or if you work in Lehigh, this can still be a great option for you. One last thing I wanted to mention, and that is the schools in Herriman. They are great schools. And you've got good high schools, middle schools, elementary schools, and you've got a school that I mentioned that I'll make another quick mention for here just because it's so unique and cool. Providence School is a set that goes from kindergarten through graduation of high school. So they've got a really cool and unique thing going on there at Providence. If you want to hear me talk more about it, look at another Herriman video that I made like a couple years ago. We'll flag that in the video here, so you can click on that easily. Go to like the last third of the video and it should be pretty close to where that talks about it. All right guys, so if Herriman seems like it could be your vibe, then if you didn't do it towards the beginning of the video, now's the perfect time to do it. Just drop into the video description, hit the Google form link that's right there, fill that out. I will reach back out to you directly. We will start getting things in order. If there's a city or information specific that you are looking for that you haven't seen in my channel yet, hit me up about it. We'll do that soon. Other than that, thanks for watching this one, you guys. We'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye, bye-bye.